Hello, hello, hello. Greetings, everyone. I hope you all having a great time. Welcome to the show. I am back with some things to talk about, some things to think about, just to share some energy, some steerage into a particular direction in life, which may be a little bit more enjoyable after having taken the journey. I'm Adam Abraham, if you don't know. And this is Onesciousness Prime. I still need to practice saying that. I'm still, oh, no, I'm not. I've really embraced it. That word didn't come on like naturally when I first, um, I'd say, articulated it, when it came on my consciousness, so to speak, as something that was useful and beneficial. But I still pronounce the way I do. I have my inflections and stuff, but the word is consciousness, consciousness prime. Um, what I have in mind doing today is providing some information that I hope is going to be, I intend to be beneficial. But today, we're going to continue in our subject of value, for one thing. And actually, specifically, I'm going to take you behind the scenes and into my Co-op 20 back office or dashboard. We're going to talk a bit about it, the system itself, but more so why it is not it's not about making money per se, but how exercising and involving yourself in the system exercises something that is useful, that does not get exercised in our general practices of involving money. And so here's something that you don't get when you're dealing with money and issues associated with it. And it's really about relationships, and relationships themselves are, generally speaking, fairly poor or fragile with respect to this interactions involving money. Now, on the other hand, this cooperative system is also about relationships, but it is about strengthening relationships, and the primary one being your own relationship with yourself, your own sense of self esteem, your own sense of self worth, your own sense of ability to provide for your needs, for the needs of the people that you love, as well as to be provided equitably or fairly or whatever for just simply who you are and what you are. Because we are all creators. We are creators of our experiences, most of which are thinking that we are not. We are tending to think that our experiences just happen. And if we listen to what many people tell us, they will kind of suggest that, or suggest that you have or we have no real influence. I won't use the word control, but influence, that we can't steer our experiences in one way or another. Now, that's not true. It is. We actually can. But the hard truth is that the experience that we're already having is the evidence that we are the steerers. And the point, basically, we have habits. We've been taught many habits. We've got traditions. We have inertia of the familiar. And when insufficiency is familiar to us, when isolation is familiar, when um, really less than joyful, less than satisfying experiences are familiar to us, we don't really think it's so normal. even though we don't like it. The fact is, it's not a comfort zone; it's a discomfort zone for a lot of people. And I'm not even get into the talk about disease and other things, but these are literally habits that we have formed and we've slid into oftentimes, and not knowing that something within us and our view. And I'm not saying, well, let's put it this way: something that is active. It's not the something, in our education system. I don't know if you recall, if you did the Greek tragedies and those things, and they started talking about Achilles' heel and they had the tragic flaw. These ideas have been planted very deftly into the human mind. And it's really the mind, it's what's active in the mind. Because if we're taught to not question I'm going to tell you what was just on my tip of my tongue to say, but it's just you and me. Crap is what I was going to say. So we're taught not to question that stuff, that information. And essentially, when in fact, they got a little leverage on us because they can grade us, so to speak. They can, you question this too much, they can do it. We've allowed people to do some egregious things in order to keep us thinking the way we are being guided to think. And that could be, for example, to be a consumer. To be a consumer is to consume, is to take in, but not necessarily to be satisfied with what one has obtained. And in addition to that, if a person is of a certain authority, uh, or by consensus, you're supposed to listen to them, we can be taking in a whole bunch of, I'm going to say, poisonous ideas. And without the discernment, without the knowing that, excuse me, let's stop right here because that one ain't coming in. That one doesn't pass muster. It's not true. It's not whatever. And so, to some extent, we've almost lost the concept and idea that you can actually say no to certain things that don't make sense, or that don't pass your own sense of um, honor, of integrity. It's not authentic, okay? Authenticity, so to speak. So there's my little stuff. I'll step off for a little bit, and I'm going to we're going to have this conversation about value and a way by which each of us can begin to change what something that a lot of people spend decades and generations seeking, sometimes finding, but sometimes obtaining it at great cost to what's really important within their own psyche, within their own mind, and within their own sense of self and their relationship, not only to self but to everyone else. And so I'm excited about this cooperative system because it actually shows up, and it represents a lot of the things that have become problematic in the whole subject of money and value, for which few people have actually offered or come up with a workable solution for the redistribution of not only value but the reigniting of enthusiasm. That to me is a key point because this thing called value must come from within the individual and within each of us, and it will show up as an enthusiastic idea or an idea about which one is enthusiastic about. Not only are they enthusiastic about it, but they are in it. They see it happening. They're experiencing it in their minds. This is where all the creations begin. If you look at the thing called it it sounds somewhat like pedantic, but you know what I'm talking about, okay? But if you look at the dynamics that were associated with all of that, it was like a flood of uh, terrible information had inundated the minds of humanity in the same way that the water has been inundating New York City. It's like it's everywhere. It's and all the people are talking about it, all up in arms. And the day before, it was no big deal. And all of a sudden, this is upon you, and they have to tell you, well, this is real, and this is real, and this is going to be all. This is going to be in the future, and it's all coming. But they all have to let you know it's real because they're going to need for you to jump through a few hoops that they've set up for you, and it's going to be a little painful, so to speak. But it's for the greater adoption. It's not for the greater good. And so you've seen this happen and you see the process, but what was actually occurring? They were actually feeding or seeding the mind of humanity, or at least of those who couldn't or hadn't prepared well enough to see through it. And so if someone complied, in fact, the other thing, it's not even where they saw through it. Some people, well, many people still either listen to what the authorities say, or they follow it because what they have a need that they don't want to see dry up. Some people had that need dry up anyway. Didn't matter. They were non-essential. Okay, but everyone is essential. And the beautiful thing, though, is that everyone can actually change their situation. But sometimes you need a different environment in which to do it. And that's what's happening here now. What I want to do is I'm going to share a screen. I went to my website. I have a couple of websites, and I don't tend to push products. Uh, and not that that's a great thing one way or another, because I have bouts of insufficiency at times too. But um, I just have some other way that I trust that things are going to work out, and they do. However, there are certain things that one needs to do. And so I went to my website. It's a website. It's called loveishome.co. And I found a little video that I did there, which is an introduction to Love is Home. I'm going to put the links to that in this description, because what I'm going to do right now is what I said I was going to do is I'm going to go to my Co-op20 site, and we're going to go into the back office and look around. So, and I'll talk a little bit about Co-op20 as we go along. What's new? Okay, I got the screen there. I'm going to go there, and then I'll be able, well, that's not it. Is that it? Nope. Okay, there it is. Okay, this is phase one of it. So this is the front door to the Co-op 20 website. Right now, it's just a landing page on here because it's in pre-launch. As of this moment, you can see down below this 12 days. October 15th is the day of actual launching. Okay, and so and then we've got heart to heart contact. Okay, so the the system is such, if you're familiar with the idea of just in time manufacturing, that was a big deal some years ago, and maybe it still is, where they bring the parts all together at the time that they are needed, and that they go into the process of making an automobile. And they don't warehouse it, they don't inventory it or anything else until they show up. They deliver it. Ideally, they deliver it when it's, the, the jig is on the assembly line, and now they're putting all these things together, and they need it at a certain place at a certain time, and that's a height of efficiency. Well, this system works that way too. The funds that you receive are not brought into, they're not, the system is not holding money, so to speak. When you deposit, when you introduce yourself to the system, you make a deposit. So you establish an account, you establish a presence in the system with the potential of interactivity, interconnectedness with other members. Now, when you join, okay, phase one of that interactivity has begun. Now you're present. The next thing happens is that you purchase those three tokens, because you're purchasing the tokens, you're obtaining them for with the intent that you're going to invite three people to do the same thing as, as step one. And so you get the three tokens. These become your gesture tool, so to speak. And so what happens is this: you have conversation, or if this video is meaningful in any kind of way, you have somebody watch it, because I'm just explaining what happens and what the significance of this is. And so when they say, yeah, this is different, when they feel it, they don't have to say it, but all they got to do is to say, yeah, I'm in. Okay. And when they decide, I'm going to do this too, then you, uh, well, they either will obtain, because they can purchase the uh, Co-op 20 tokens. They need three of them. They can do that. You can also, let me do it back here at the dashboard. You can also just do this, put their name in, their email address, and phone number. Phone number is not required, but it's a good thing to have. In fact, it is a good thing to have, because if there's any customer service issues or matters, when you contact customer service, and I've done this, this is, this company actually exists, they do respond, etc. They will ask you for that information. They'll ask you for your sponsor ID, which the system produces. When you invite someone, they'll ask for that. Yeah, of course, they ask for your name and whatever the issue is, but they'll also ask for your email address and your phone number, and they triangulate that to confirm, uh, the consistency that you are you, so to speak. So yeah, you put that in there, and you can then just fill in these numbers down here at the bottom, and then send that off to your friend. So they say they want to do this, they are going to do it. It's not that they want to. Yeah, I've been quoting Yoda lately. They do or do not. There is no try. So if they're going to do it, they say they are, then you can send them an invitation this way, and then the system will know that when they purchase their three tokens, they already know the connection with you. The other way of doing this is that when they uh, either purchase the tokens, or if they send the funds to you and you do it and you assign them, then again, you can actually send them one of your tokens. So ultimately, each member is buying tokens so that they can actually pass them on, and they can invite to someone else who is going to do the same thing. And step one For first is activity. You have to have a minimum of $20 every month in your as a balance, because it will just cycle out every 20. I say every month, but in co-op land, a month is 28 days. So the relationships that you're setting up is one that you're going to be sending funds to someone else. In the case of this, what I call the baby pool, the baby platform, you're sending the six people, the person that invited you plus five others. And, we don't, it's whatever they want, whoever they are. I don't know who beyond the person that invited me. I have no idea who they might be, but it doesn't really matter. I don't even know if the person that invited me is even active in co-op still. This is a very much modeled after the universe itself. We are responsible for our successes and for our perceived failures. We also are responsible for our changing in our perception that can change and transform prior failures into successes. Uh, pr- pr- uh, Things that were hoped for actually received or realized. This is the process of life. And essentially, what's beautiful about this is that because it is in the crypto space, and because this wallet, this co op wallet, is what's called a Web3 wallet, it's encrypted too. Uh, there's there's no one connected to it but you, so to speak. And your account is essentially the funds that come to it are actually yours to use as you wish. Okay, there's no one sitting back to say, well, you can or cannot do it with this, and that's just part of it. The other thing is this: is when you so you got two things. One is simply being active. When you obtain your tokens, you are active. Now, the next part of that is that when you help the three that you invite to also uh, I want to say successfully have three who are active as well. That means you now have three plus nine more who are active and connected to your wallet. You are receiving from everyone every 28 days on the anniversary of their joining. You're going to be receiving a little spiff from each one every 28 days. The ones that are first most direct to you, the first three, I think you receive either $5 or $8. Okay, so you get $24 after from the first three, but it's every 28 days. But then you're getting something from the next nine, and then what we're all doing, is passing on the behavior. All it is inviting three, and they help those three to also succeed. We're helping people succeed. And each time a new person joins, the people that are associated with their joining actually are receiving value. So your wallet value, so to speak, goes up, and it goes up in a very non-linear way. Okay, it can go up exponentially very quickly because you're getting positive feedback. You're doing something positive, and you are receiving an in-kind result from succeeding at it. And the thing about it is that as when you have your three and your three have three, and there and so there's nine plus three, that's 12 active. You are then qualified. You'll see up here it shows I'm not qualified yet. I haven't obtained where I have three who have three yet. I've got three down there, but I don't have three who have three yet. And it may take more than three to have. It may take five or whatever to have three anywhere within my lineage who also have three. Uh, in a pure sense, you have that direct three, and then they have their three, and that gives you, and now you're done. You're qualified. When they have their three, when the three that you invited, or the whomever that you invited, anyone, but they now also have their three who are active. They are then qualified. So the objective is to become qualified. What happens there is that there is one a 25% additional um, disbursement. You basically give yourself a 25 another, you're getting 25%, you're getting another 25%. The system essentially, you could say, holds that back until you're qualified, and then roof, you start receiving that too. And in addition to that, the the baby co-op system extends. I mentioned that when you're giving to six, but when you're receiving from six tiers, six layers that I do. I like the idea of a circle, and these are circles that surround you. Okay, and so, but essentially, the first level, the first circle is three. The second is nine, and you have six circles around you. So, but each um, progressive circle is three times the size of the previous one. Therefore, when those nine begin their process of inviting, they're inviting 27. And then when that occurs, that 27 is inviting 81. And then the next group is the next tier is 243. And then the last tier in this, which is called a 3 by 6 matrix, has 729 people. Now, the interesting thing is that when um, your pool matures, it matures when all of those positions are filled. You would have 1,092 people whose wallets are connected to yours, and they would not. I was talking about just in time. They're not bringing the funds that they will receive or that will come through the system to you is not in the system until the people that you invite put them in. And so the traditional concept of market caps, for example, well, how much money is in the system? People are looking at that. Why? Because what all other systems are doing is they're trying to get as many people as they can to put funds into whatever their project is. And now they got a whole bunch of value sitting in those funds in their wallets or in their bank accounts or whatever. And the people who sent it are sitting around waiting, sitting around holding it and hoping that something occurs. But they're not. It's not a reciprocal system. They're not receiving in kind. They may receive, but it's diluted. It's not nearly as efficient as this system. So the cooperative system has a single amount for everyone, first of all. So 67 bucks people are putting in. And I will say this, that you literally could just join for 20 bucks. That would put you in, even if you did. And there, apparently, I'm saying this because it exists, and you might hear it from David himself or others that may talk about this. I'm not going to talk about it because it's not really what I'm intending or even suggesting that people do. But if you were simply wanting to join and just sit there, it is possible that you can earn some amounts of funds over whatever period of time simply by being there. That's through what they call spillover. But this is really what this is not about, because if a person does that, the true reason for doing this has to do with consciousness. It has to do with lifting one's spirit. If a person wants to sit in this thing and simply wait for some spillover, that's not really what my message is. Not going to be much of an appeal, and I uh, it's it's no it's no skin off my back, but it's no benefit to them. They're not benefiting themselves. The really important thing about all of this is that when we change our consciousness, when we change our way of looking at life, when we change our enthusiasm enthusiasm level, when we I'll give you an example real fast, and I love the people from Peace Week that I observe. I love what they are doing and wanting to do. But when they are talking about wanting to have peace by 2030, and there's another group of people who are worried about what the World Economic Forum is wanting to do by 2030, etc. None of that's in the now. And the way to change things in a future time is what we do now. And when they are concerned about this and concerned about that, many of them have projects and initiatives that they don't have sufficient funds for. And they have issues that are going on which would be helped should or if someone or if they had a sufficient flow of value that they had access to. And much of our infrastructures are not much help. I mean, I listened to some people from Pakistan, for example, who were dealing with the effects of, um, well, they had this religious um, intramural kind of childishness, I will call, between people, and of disrespect and destroying, burning churches, things that have happened here in this state, and see, these are all frames of mind. These are mentality issues, and so these people were looking for help, and the folks that were on the call were trying to get them help, and they were going to try, get them something through PayPal or try to get them something through Western Union. I have used or attempted to use Western Union, attempted to use PayPal for that matter, and not to disparage any of them. Uh, Yet they're iffy sometimes. They're sketchy, especially international stuff. So that becomes a problematic. And I spoke up because I did a search real quick while we were talking, and I just put in cryptocurrency adoption and Pakistan is what I did. There's my site there, cryptocurrency and Pakistan. Here it is. And then I could find okay here. Pakistan announces a fresh ban on crypto, but adopting as a hedge remains popular. So you see what's happening here? Here, the state is banning cryptos. Let us see that this is May of this year, uh, but adoption remains popular. In other words, people are getting crypto anyway. Why? Because the state is banning it to keep people in the present system, whatever it is. They're trying to continue to corral the herd and keep them in the pen. And so, but to live is another story. People I read this article or one like it. Yeah, this is CoinDesk. And many of the merchants, for example, are doing that. They are adopting anyway. This happened in Venezuela. There was someone from Afghanistan, and it turns out that in Afghanistan, crypto adoption was almost uh, non existent. Um, ah, Thank you about Onesciousness. I just saw your comment, Derek. Thank you. The adoption of cryptos in uh, Afghanistan a couple of years ago was almost non-existent, and as president, or from this article just recently, it went from non-existent to Afghanistan is number 20 on the planet in adoption of cryptos. You see, crypto adoption is going to happen. It is happening, irrespective of what the conventional people are saying and telling you. They are not on the better side of history in this in this situation, but they are attempting to minimize what they think of as losses. And when in fact, a a financially sufficient supply is a country people are far more healthier. Their infrastructure, everything else is far stronger when they have sufficiency of value and the ability to exchange value with others. And the people that are managing these funds for these various establishment banks concerned about their losses are not concerned about the quality of life of the people that they're supposed to be serving. So the people are choosing to do this with or without their blessing. And the thing about it is that it's because these uh, funds, these resources are encrypted, they are private, and they are yours to use. In this particular situation, they're yours to use as you so choose because they are based on your efforts, not on the amounts of funds that you put in. So when you are secure and resolute in your decision to do this, you will be rewarded. And when the people that you invite are resolute in doing this, they will be rewarded in the same way. And all I will say, instead of, if you're all only about money and you want to know, well, how much will I make? How much will I make? Then this may not be right for you either, or you may not be right for it because it's not based on that. I'll tell you this, and the words that made the most sense to me, which I decided to adopt, is that it'll pour you out blessings that you won't have room to receive, and they won't be limited to money. And so, with that, I think I'm going to check out. I will invite you. There is an invitation link in the description. Reach out to me if you have any questions. And if this is of interest, just let me know. Let's do this together. I'll be back tomorrow with some more. Take care. Thank you so much. And until next time, peace, be well, be prosperous. And I love you all.